the National Police Service wishes to provide a comprehensive update on the ongoing investigations into the tragic murder of Honorable Charles Ongodowere.
In a country where justice often wears a tailored suit, the poor are buried not just in graves but in silence.
And the DCI for that matter.
September 2024. The Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, in Kenya, is crowned Africa's best investigative agency, boasting an 82% approval rating in a survey by Kenya Track, a respected research firm. Ghana's CID followed at 76%, Uganda's at 74%. The continent paused, if only briefly, to clap. But back home, the applause never echoed. Kenyans balked, not out of cynicism, but out of lived experience. How, they asked, can an agency that regularly fails to crack open obvious murder cases be hailed as Africa's finest? And they had every reason to ask, to doubt, to even scoff. Because time after time we've seen the DCI falter. Not on elaborate or hidden crimes, but on open and shut murders, the kind that scream for justice with blood still fresh on the pavement. And paradoxically, it's the intricate, politically sensitive murders, the ones laced with complexity and danger, that get solved with Godspeed precision. It begs the question, what triggers urgency at DCI? Is it the motive behind a murder, or who the murdered is? Let's walk into a tragedy, so painfully common it barely makes the news. A mama mboga, a humble vegetable vendor, sets out for Gikomba Market. She is ambushed, stabbed. She bleeds out before sunrise. No DCI team arrives. No crime scene tape. No forensic sweep. Instead, 5 hours later, traffic police and administration officers stumble onto the scene. Units trained more in whistling at motorists and negotiating 50-shilling bribes than securing homicides. These are the men and women sent to handle murder. The body is eventually hauled to the morgue. That's the end of her story. No questions, no justice, no closure. And yes, CCTV was nearby, functioning, untouched. Why? Because she wasn't a politician. She wasn't someone. She was just a Kenyan, the kind who pays taxes so that others can receive justice. Now, flip the script.
Comprehensive update on the ongoing investigations into the tragic murder of Honorable Charles Ongodowere.
A sitting member of parliament aligned to the ruling coalition is gunned down. The Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja himself, stands behind a podium. Cameras roll. The pistol used has been recovered, he declares. 4 suspects arrested. Boom. The wheels of the state roar to life. In a matter of hours, every government resource is mobilized. Every surveillance lens, every forensic tool, every agency clicks into gear like clockwork. Private CCTV is demanded. Telecom giants are summoned, Safaricom, Airtel, all hands on deck. And then, an avalanche of investigative terms floods the public. Cell tower triangulation, call detail records, IMEI tracking, signal mapping, facial recognition, forensic ballistics, gait analysis, LPR, metadata extraction, cyber forensics, drone sweeps, satellite heat signatures. Suddenly, this is a crime worth solving. The contrast couldn't be sharper. For ordinary Kenyans, justice isn't just delayed, it's denied, it's rationed, prioritized, politicized. In this republic, justice isn't blind. She sees your status, your connections, your hashtags, and only then decides if you're worth the ink in her pen. And those who don't qualify? They vanish into forgotten case files, shelved in dust, nameless, voiceless, replaced. On April 30th, 2025, The Honourable Member of Parliament for Kasipul constituency, Charles Ongondo, was fatally shot just metres away from the gates of Daystar University, near the Nairobi City mortuary. Just 3 days later, the net widened. 6 more suspects arrested. Among them, 2 men whose names would ignite shockwaves across the political and business landscape. Philip Nahasan Aroko, a politician, businessman, and known political rival of the slain MP. Abel Ochieng, also known as Dave Kalo. The DCI wasn't just solving a murder anymore. It was unraveling a political conspiracy. Their findings, laid out in a court affidavit, read like the plot of a political thriller. A pattern emerged, detailed, deliberate, and devastating. At the centre of the web, Philip Aroko, a seasoned political operator with a long-standing feud against Charles. Their rivalry was not just electoral, it was tribal, territorial, and deeply personal. They each commanded battalions of youth, loyal to the core, battle-hardened from years of violent confrontations. Funerals turned into front lines, rallies ended in bloodshed. And behind the chaos, a dangerous evolution was underway, from political supporters to armed militias. On January 27, 2025, during a funeral in East Kamagak Ward, tensions exploded. Machetes, stones, crude weapons, all unleashed in a brutal clash between the 2 camps. One of Aroko's security men was critically injured. Vehicles were destroyed, the community traumatized. Here's the twist. That injured man was the nephew of Abel Ochieng, alias Dave Kalo, and that changed everything. Fueled by personal grievance, Abel Ochieng confronted Charles, demanding to know why his men had attacked his nephew. Charles, perhaps hardened by the years of rivalry, allegedly dismissed him. That same day, according to court records, Abel sent Charles a chilling text message, "Utaona. You will see." It was short, cold, threatening. And it placed Abel Ochieng squarely in the DCI's crosshairs. As investigators dug deeper, a darker alliance began to take shape. Remember that age-old saying, "The enemy of my enemy is my friend." It was no longer just a proverb, it was a motive. Aroko and Abel, once politically distant, found common cause in vengeance. According to the affidavit, they convened a series of secret meetings, not just in Homa Bay, but in Nakuru and Nairobi. Each meeting moved the plan forward. Each handshake brought death one step closer. Now here is the pattern. Philip Nahasan Aroko comes together with Abel Ochieng, and they begin planning how to deal with the Kasipul Member of Parliament, Charles Ongondo. And to reach the MP, they needed someone close, more than close. They needed his aides. There were several meetings held in Nairobi between Philip Nahasan Aroko, Abel Ochieng, and one of the MP's most trusted aides, his bodyguard, Alan Ogola Omondi. And not just him, the MP's driver, Walter Owino Awino, also features in this web. And that brings us to the next phase of the pattern. According to DCI documents, 2 key phone calls form the next major breakthrough. These calls place the MP's bodyguard and driver directly in contact with the prime suspects. Let's break it down. First call. On 30th April 2025, the very day Charles Ongondo was fatally shot at exactly 2:40 p.m., a call was placed to Alan Ogola Omondi, the MP's bodyguard, while he was still within Parliament. That call lasted 1 minute and 10 seconds. And guess who it came from? One of the suspects already in custody. Second call. Just 2 days earlier, on 28th April, another call came from the same number to the same bodyguard, same suspect, same contact chain. This was no coincidence. If you'd like to verify this information yourself, you can check out the full report published by the Daily Nation. Just search for the headline on their website or your browser. So now, the pattern becomes clear. From the 2 main suspects, Philip Aroko and Abel Ochieng, to the MP's aides, then to a third player, Juma Ali Haikal, an administration police AP officer. It was Juma Ali Haikal who brought in other suspects like William Imoli, Dennis Sewe Manyasi, Douglas Muchiri Wambugu, and others. According to court documents, Philip Aroko and Albol Ochieng are believed to have financed the entire operation. The aides, Alan Ogola, bodyguard, and Walter Owino, driver, were the inside links. Juma Haikal connected them to the operational team, the shooters, the coordinators. And just like that, a well-coordinated, well-funded and meticulously planned assassination took place. The DCI is now in the final stages of tying all loose ends. And if successful, this could become one of Kenya's most efficient criminal investigations in recent history. Let me end with this. Justice should not depend on who you are or who you know. Whether it's a powerful MP or a common citizen, every murder deserves justice. And our institutions must serve everyone equally. That brings us to the end of today's deep dive. If you found this video informative, like, share and subscribe to LifeLens TV, where we break down the facts, connect the dots and give you the stories behind the headlines. Until next time, allow me to say goodbye and see you in the next one.